Otters. Hope you're all well and had a lovely weekend. Was in school this morning, so that's why it's a bit later today. So it looks like Genia is going to be looking after Felix and Zelda. So let's see how that works out. This bed is comfortable and warm, and Genia doesn't snore that much, and she's left a lamp burning low so we won't be scared. But I just can't get to sleep. Neither can Zelda. Felix, she says, nudging me in the ribs, tell me a William and Violet Elizabeth story. You mean Wilhelm and Violetta, I whisper. And don't fidget. You'll pull the covers off Genia and wake her up. It's very kind of Genia to let us share her bed. Luckily there's space because her husband's away. Zelda lies very still and I whisper a story to her. It's about how Wilhelm and Violetta are rescued by a kind lady called Genia. They live happily ever after with Genia and with her friendly dog who likes to be tickled, and with a nice pig who likes to be tickled too, and with some very loyal chickens. Sometimes Wilhelm and Violetta play hide and seek with the chickens, and at no stage do the chickens betray them to the Nazis. By the time I've finished the story, Zelda is asleep. Good story, whispers Genia. I'm startled. I hadn't realised she was listening. Can you tell another one? She says, about a Polish man who's forced to go to Germany to work for the Nazis and who comes home safely. I look at her confused. I'm not sure if I know enough to tell a story like that. He likes to be tickled, says Genia. While I'm waiting for my imagination to come up with something, I see the sad smile on her face and I realise who she's talking about. Does he come home at weekends? I ask. Your husband? Genia shakes her head. I haven't seen him for 2 years, she says quietly. That's terrible, I say. I tell Genia the story she asked for, but while I'm telling it, I'm also thinking about something else. Why do people start wars when they know so many sad things are going to happen? I don't get it. After I finish the story, me and Genia talk for a while. She doesn't get it either. Finally, she says, I must let you sleep. Good night, Wilhelm. I'm really struggling with this name, sorry. Wilhelm. And thank you. Thank you, I say, for protecting me and me and Violetta. We're both lying here, breathing quickly, Zelda asleep between us. I don't know Genia very well, but I can guess what she's thinking. The same as me. We're both hoping our stories come true. Then, me and Zelda lived happily with Genia for more than a week without any sad things happening. We also lived happily with Leopold the dog and Trotsky the pig. And a bit less happily with the chickens, who won't stay still long enough for us to feed them with our automatic chicken feeding machine. Stop running away, says Zelda crossly, waving her arms at them and chasing them all over the barn. You have to line up. I'm not surprised the chickens are a bit scared. They've probably never seen a gherkin tin nailed to a rafter before, especially not one with a string hanging down that you have to pull with your beak to make the tin wobble and the grains of wheat fall through the holes in the bottom. New inventions are always a bit confusing and scary. I remember how nervous Mum and Dad were at home when we first got a tin opener. You can't blame these chickens for feeling the same. Give them time to get used to it, I say to Zelda. But Zelda grabs a chicken and staggers with it over to the chicken feeding machine. She holds its beak and tries to make it pull the string. The chicken spits the string out, squawks indignantly, and flaps out of her arm. Idiot! Zelda yells at it. You have to pull the string. Don't you know anything? I smile to myself. When Zelda asked me to build the automatic 1965 chicken feeding machine from our story, I had a feeling it might be a bit too advanced for these 1942 chickens. But I didn't care because it was such fun inventing and making it. Nothing takes your mind off sad war things like an automatic chicken feeding machine. For a while, anyway. You're all idiots! Zelda is yelling at the chickens. And Nazis! Leopold the dog and Trotsky the pig are cowering in the corner of the barn. The chickens are looking pretty stressed too, which I'm now remembering isn't a good thing. Before Genia went into town this morning, she explained that these days eggs are so precious they're like money. In fact, eggs are Genia's only money, which is why instead of us eating them, she takes them to town to swap for things. When she gets home this afternoon, I don't want her to find all the chickens have stopped laying eggs because Zelda had been calling them Nazis. I decide to give the chickens a break. Let's play hide and seek, I say to Zelda. She looks at me like I'm an inventor who's not taking inventing seriously enough. But after a few moments she grins. All right, she says. We help Leopold hide in his kennel and we give Trotsky a hand to lie down behind an old horse harness. After that we burrow down into the straw. Come and find us, Zelda calls to the chickens as she snuggles next to me. I'm not sure if the chickens will be any better at this than they are at feeding themselves automatically, but that doesn't matter. It's fun here in the straw with no Nazis around. Felix, whispers Zelda, I like it here. Can we stay here forever? At first I think she means in the straw, which would get a bit itchy after a while because of the insects. On this farm, says Zelda. I hope so, I reply, but before I can explain that it's up to Genia, the barn door gives a loud creak. I blow the dust off my glasses and peer out through the straw. The barn door was shut to keep the chickens in, but not locked. Now somebody I can't see who, is slowly pulling it open. Shh, I whisper to Zelda. We hold our breaths. Leopold barks. I pray it's just Genia home early and I wait for her to step inside. She doesn't. Instead, a lump of something is tossed through the doorway and lands with a splat on the dirt floor. A lump of raw meat. I stare at it. This is incredible. Meat is even more precious than eggs. Who would throw a lump of meat onto the ground? Good boy, I hear a voice whispering from outside. Good boy, Leopold. Leopold comes panting out of his kennel and goes straight to the meat and starts eating it. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Leopold is an important family member and we love him a lot. But you don't give meat to a dog, not in wartime, not when people are lucky if they have it once a month. I'm tempted to crawl out of the straw to remind Genia about this, but before I can, somebody comes into the barn, and it's not Genia. It's a kid. He's about my age with dark hair and old grown-up clothes that are too big for him. He kneels down next to Leopold, who's still scoffing his meat. Good boy, he says in a gruff voice, and gives Leopold a hug. Gently, I squeeze Zelda's arm to let her know we should stay hidden until I can work out who this kid is. We can't be too careful. Kids like rewards too, even if they don't drink vodka. Zelda is stiff with fright. I know what she's hoping, that the chickens don't suddenly get good at hide and seek and find us. Wait a minute. That kid looks a bit familiar. Have I met him before? While I'm trying to think if I have, Trotsky the pig goes over to the meat and starts gobbling it too. Leopold doesn't mind, but the kid does. Get lost, he says, and smacks Trotsky on the head. Before I can stop her, Zelda is on her feet, straw flying everywhere, striding towards the kid. The kid jumps. I stand up too. The kid jumps back, startled, dark eyes glaring. Don't hit Trotsky, Zelda yells at the kid. He doesn't like being hit. He only likes being tickled. Zelda puts her arms around Trotsky, who looks slightly dazed by all the attention. The kid grabs Zelda and gets one arm around her neck. In his other hand, he suddenly has a knife clear to her throat. There's blood on the knife. Please, I beg silently, let it be blood from the meat. Stop being a bully, squeals Zelda. I take a step towards them. The kid moves the knife even closer to Zelda's throat. Let her go, I say. We're Leopold's friends too. The kid doesn't reply, just glowers at me with the angriest eyes I've ever seen. Leopold isn't your friend, Zelda says to the kid. Bite him, Leopold. Leopold growls but stays with the meat. I don't think he likes fighting. I'm going to have to grab the knife. I don't like fighting either, and I haven't really done much, but I can't think of any other way. The kid looks like he's done a lot of fighting. He's got a big scab on his forehead. Here goes. But before I can fling myself at him, the kid suddenly mutters some swear words and pushes Zelda away and runs out of the barn. I let him go. Are you all right? I ask Zelda, helping her up and checking her for stab wounds. Children shouldn't play with real knives, she says tearfully. Doesn't he know anything? I hug her. Leopold licks her. Trotsky burps in a sympathetic way. The chickens run around clucking excitedly, but I think that's just because they found us. We creep to the barn door, but there's no sign of the kid. Let's chase after him, mutters Zelda, with sticks. But we don't. We're not the sort of people who go looking for trouble, not even when we're angry. I hope we never see that kid again. After a while, Jeannie arrives home from town. She's got things she bought with the eggs. Trousers for me, and a dress and shoes for Zelda, and warm underwear for us both. In the kitchen, while we try them on, we tell Jeannie about the horrible kid. She examines the last bit of the meat we've saved as evidence. Rabbit, she says. I could have made a stew with that. Or a pet, says Zelda. Jeannie frowns, thinking. That boy must have escaped, she says. Escaped from where? I say. The orphanage, says Jeannie. Apart from you two, the only other kids who ever made friends with Leopold were the orphans, the ones the Nazis murdered. I look at Jeannie, surprised. She used to hate Jewish people. Why did she let them be friends with her dog? The Nazis made the orphans do farm work, says Jeannie, growing food for the German army. The kids helped me plant my fields earlier this year. They did a brilliant job. Beautiful crop of cabbages I had, before the Nazis took them. Zelda is frowning now. If the Jewish orphans were good at Nazi cabbages, she says to Jeannie, why didn't the Nazis let them keep being alive? Jeannie scowls. Who knows why those slugs do anything, she says. I heard a rumour they needed the orphanage building for something else. I'm shocked. Killing innocent children just to get their bedrooms. I'm also shocked to hear that the kid with the knife is Jewish. A Jewish orphan whose friends are all dead except for Leopold. I wish I'd known that. Perhaps me and Zelda and the chickens could have been a bit friendlier. Okay, we are going to leave it there for today. I'm really enjoying reading this. I hope you guys are too. Hope you get on okay with your work this week. Everything should be up on the website. And yeah, email me and let me know how you all are. Always look forward to hearing from you. Stay safe and healthy, guys. Keep washing your hands, and I will check in with you tomorrow.